Hi, it's Sarah here from Crafting and Stamping, and I'm here with my usual monthly online workshop, so thank you for joining me. I'm going to turn the camera around now so that you can see my desk. And let me check it. Make sure everything's set up. And we'll just, and actually that looks like it's upside down, doesn't it? It's just, there we go. I think that's the right way around. So we'll just get things set up. Try and get things so that you can see as well as possible. Oops. I want to zoom in so that you can see enough of the desk without cutting things now. Let's come back. Sorry folks, a few technical issues. There we go. I'll just see if I've moved my desk around recently. So, right, I just want to make sure that you can see as much of that as possible. Right, I think that should be okay for us to get started now. And just put my computer back on so that I can try and catch if anybody's trying to chat to me. So tonight I'm going to be focusing on the things that we've got going on in Stampin' Up this month. So we've got a few things happening. We've got a new collection that's out, and we've got an offer on. So I'll just briefly say how things work. So this is my online workshop, and basically I run this like I would have done the old face-to-face workshop. So I'm going to show some projects. You can craft along if you want to. If you place an order, then there will be some little bonuses. So orders of any size always get a thank you from me. So that will come through the post. Any order over £30 also gets our monthly ideas tutorial bundle. I'm part of a group of worldwide demonstrators, and we get together once a month and put together a tutorial bundle. So if you spend over £30 with me tonight or up until 2 p.m. on Friday the 4th of March, then you'll get the Ideas Tutorial Bundle. If you spend over £45, then you're also going to get tonight's Make and Take pack. So you will get a pack pretty much just like this. Your pack will be actually die cut for this bit. So that would be yours. That's the only difference. And if you want to spend over £60, then in addition to a thank you card, the Ideas Tutorial Bundle, the Make and Take pack, you will also get a pack of the beautiful Rhinestone Waves Basic Jewels. Celebration has ended, so I'm afraid there's no celebration freebies. But if you spend over £60, I'm going to include these rhinestones as well. So let me just see if, right. Hi Lynn, hi Sue, nice to have you with me. And I know that Lynn's aware of our issues with Bilbo, my little doggy. Little doggy's not very well. He's doing better now, but we're waiting on some blood test results from the vets. He seemed to have had a little stroke at the weekend. He's recovering, but he had a stroke, and we just need to check whether there's an underlying reason, whether it could happen again. But he's doing well. He is recovering quite well at the moment. So I just thought I'll give a quick update, but we're still waiting for those blood test results. Right, so, sorry, little aside. So let me show you the collection that we've got going on at the moment. So this is Waves of Inspiration collection. Now these two items, the stamp set and the dies, are going to be in our new annual catalogue when it comes out. So you will be able to get these in future. They are a red rubber cling set. I will just point out, if you're new to stamping, this stamp, while it's absolutely gorgeous, it is rather large, so you need a large block. I've actually not got the largest one on my desk at the moment. I have managed to stamp, when I did this card, I did manage to stamp across the bottom with just this block, but you really need the biggest block to handle this stamp. So just so you're aware. So like I say, these are the stamps. The happy birthday is in there, but it's a little bit small. So just draw your attention to that as well. The Waves dies are absolutely gorgeous as well. We've got dies here. Can I show you? No, I can't. So we've got the Waves dies, two different Waves dies. There's a little die for cutting out the pelican on his post. There are two little sentiment dies which are absolutely brilliant, and I'm going to be using one of those tonight. There's also cloud dies and lining, cloud lining, so you can put a silver lining on your clouds, and there's a couple of birds as well. So really beautiful dies. So I'm going to be using, like I say, a couple of those tonight. These things, the DSP, the foils, which I'll show you in a second, and the jewels are all limited time. Now they are technically on until May, but it's while supplies last. So it's one of those things that you just need to be careful that you don't miss out. So they are 12 by 12 papers. I've cut these down simply so that you can see them easier under the camera. And also, to be honest, I quite often cut mine down to 6 by 6 because it makes them easier to feed through the die cutting machine. And I'm going to come to the die cutting machine in a minute. So we've got these beautiful sort of mixed paint look to them. So really gorgeous, and some bubbles, and you've got quite sort of dark blues on one side, and then if we flip them over, we've got some different sort of pool party, coastal cabana style, Calypso Coral and Petal Pink, and some Daffodil Delight. So we're going to use a couple of different designs of this tonight. Thanks, Sue. He's doing well. He's doing well. So thanks, Lynn. Right, so foils. I wanted to show you the foils. So again, these come, you get 12 sheets of 12 by 12 with this. With this, you get these beautiful foils, sort of a navy, a coastal cabana style, and a silver, which is matte rather than shiny. These again come in 12 by 12, and you get 2 each of each colour. So they are lovely too. And then, as I say, you've got the beautiful rhinestones. And these come in quite a mix of different blues and greens. So really lovely. So this was the card that I shared on Monday, a quick card, but I thought I'll just bring it out again now, because I think that this shows how the patterns actually work really well for a masculine card. So we're going to start tonight with, let's bring it in, the dark blue pattern of this. I've cut myself a few extras. Right, sorry, just I meant to say to you, the other thing we've got going on this month is we've got an offer on the small cut and emboss machine. Let me bring in my iPad so that I can show you. So we've got a savings are in bloom offer at the moment. So the mini machine is usually £56 and we've got 20% off, making it £44.75. I'm going to bring in my Big Shot in a bit, my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. It's the large one. I've not got the small one. I've got the large one. I've got plenty of room for it in my craft room, but if you're a bit stuck for room, then the mini one is a great alternative. And we've also got 20% off a whole bunch of stamp and die bundles. This is during March. These are all designed to work with that mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. And I'm going to be using a bunch of these tonight. We're going to use the Art Gallery bundle, we're going to use the All Squared Away bundle, and we're going to use the Pansy Patch bundle. So I'm going back to a few, what I think of as older stamp and die sets, because they've been in the main catalogue for a while. But I wanted to show you some different ways that you could use them. So that's what we're going to do tonight. So I've used the Art Gallery. Let's bring it in. So the Art Gallery and the Floral Gallery dies for this first card. So I'm going to use one of the sentiments, the Happy Birthday. This is a great set for having lots of different little sentiments, and usually I've used it to make floral cards. And in here you've got the dies that will cut out the flowers. Don't worry, this is shown at 85%, so they are bigger than this, they fit exactly. So you've got the little floral spray, a leaf, and then we've got these little postage stamp edged labels, and this wonderful large one that says just want to say. So you can say just want to say and then whatever sentiment you want. So what we're going to do, I will show you the card that we're heading towards. We're going to make I just want to say happy birthday. And so again, I'm making this as more of a masculine card. And we've got a card base of Knight of Navy and a piece of our DSP. This is, as you see, you could do a more feminine card, and we will be doing so. But this, I think, works great for masculine cards. And I'm probably going to switch that around to have the dark bit at the bottom to show off it will provide a greater contrast for this white label that's going to go here. So I'm going to be using some of the foil. I've already cut a mat, and these are just square. You don't need any dies for this. And I'm going to use my adhesive sheet. Let me show you how this comes. So adhesive sheet comes in large sheets of 12 by 6 inch adhesive, and what I usually do is cut a piece to be just a smidge, oops, sorry about that, smaller than the foil or whatever it is that I'm actually going to back with it. So the idea is that if I back my foil with this first before die cutting, then I'm going to end up with die cut stickers. So I pop a little piece on and then grab the edge of it and peel that up. And I put this on the wrong way around, but not to worry, I'll manage. And then what I usually do is just move it along that way. Now that's going to be sticky down that edge, so I'm just going to cut that off. I'll put this on the wrong way around, but we will manage. So that then is backed with adhesive sheet. So I'm now going to take my die. That'll be fine still, it will fit on there. So we'll just put it nice and central on here. So I'm going to bring in my Stampin' Cut and Emboss. Like I say, mine is the large one. And all you need to do, like I say, we've got the adhesive backed foil and our die. And I'm just going to put that nicely in the middle there. I'm going to grab my other plate, my other number 3 plate, and I have actually got some new dies that I got while Celebration was on, and I really need to change my die. I do go back and forth a couple of times, but you need to make sure that your die hasn't moved. Hi Pat, I've just seen that you're watching. Thank you. Nice to have you with me. So, right, and then we're just going to carefully take this out, and you'll see that we've lost a couple of pieces that are still in here. This is where I use my take a pick tool and just pop out. That's the top of the J, and then we've got the top. And then what I'm going to do is just pull that out and carefully lift up the edge. There's a little piece there that let's pop that was part of the J there, so we don't want that, but just double check what it is you're throwing away, as it were. So I'm going to take this. Now you can either sort of put them at a bit of an angle as it is, or you can put them straight. I've put them a little bit more straight on this one. I'm going to go for more of an angle on this one to show you the difference. And I'm going to do this little top of the J so that I don't lose it. If you get one of the make and take kits, it's already done for you. Just watch out for this little top of the J. It will be in your packet, but it's easily lost. So I'm taking out the want. I'll push out the centre of the A and just peel off the backing. And I tried to keep my fingers away from the sticky bit as best I can. And you just need to be a little careful peeling this off, because if you pull too quickly, you can tear your letters. If you do, don't worry, because you can just rebuild them on the page. So there we go. Just want, so next I want my tuff. Thanks, Sue. Is that of her rebuilding it on the page? Or is that, I'm not quite sure. You said great tip, I wasn't sure which, whoops, there we go. Which one? So I'm now taking out the say, and again we're going to push out the centres of the letters. and that one doesn't want to come out so easy. So I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to peel off the backing. Sometimes the backing actually holds it in place. So I'm just going to push that through. There we go. And go like that. So you can see the difference between sort of putting them on almost straight and putting them on more slanted. Now what I usually do, once I've got them in place from the back, just burnish a little with a bone folder to make sure that they're nicely adhered. So now we're just going to put this together. So I'm going to take my insert out and let's stamp the sentiment, because then it can be drying a little while we assemble the bits. So I'm using photopolymer, so you'll not be surprised. I'm going to bring in my mat. I'm not worried about it being upside down, but I'm going to put that on the grid so that I can see it. And ink up the happy birthday. And hopefully that's straight. My camera's in the way for me to see clearly. There we go. Not bad. So we'll let that dry a little while we assemble the other bits. So I'm going to grab my seal, just move it on a little bit. Come on. And somebody did suggest to me recently not to press down so hard. So thank you for that tip. It still doesn't help when it's not gone right to the end. There we are. So like I say, I'm going to keep the darker portion to the bottom of the card. Thanks Sue, talking about the adhesive sheets. Exactly, because these are thin letters, if I use my multi-purpose liquid glue, there's a much greater chance of some of the glue seeping out the sides. Now you can get away with that quite often, but with foils, the foil tends to pick up the adhesive and show it quite badly. So I always prefer to stickerize my foils rather than using the Tombow. So it's another good reason for having a die cutting machine. Okay, I'm going to give up with that tonight. So this glue's still great for a lot of other things. So I'm going to just pop that on there like that. And as always, turn it over to burnish it so that you don't mess anything up. And I'm going to grab my dimensionals and pop them in all the corners and then in the centre. So we'll pull those off. And then I'm going to give it an even margin, sort of top and sides when I put it on here. Roughly, I'll stand up so that I can see. There. And what I like to do is use the edge pieces. But I'm going to go for the other side. And if I just pop that against there, I can see how far I need to go to grab edge pieces. I could use mini dimensionals, but the edge pieces work really well on the back of these little pieces. You get 2 different sizes, and the small size is great for the short sentiments, I miss you, sorry, but you'll need the longer one for the other sentiments. So, and I'm going to just pop that. And that looks about straight, hopefully. There we are. So then for the insert, I'm just going to use another, we've got another sentiment in here that works well for the birthdays. So I've picked up the best wishes. Now, in actual fact, with both my happy birthday and the best wishes, I've snipped these apart so that I can use them on 2 separate lines. But I know that not everybody's got the nerve to do that, and you don't want to spoil your stamps. If you're not sure, don't do it. I've been stamping for long enough that I feel fairly confident. Right, so I'm good, and I've assembled it back together on the block, so it works well as long as you cut it cleanly. So I'm just going to stamp the sentiment like that, and we've got a little piece of paper left over from the front that I'm going to add to the base of this. And the glue doesn't want to work for me tonight. So again, I like to have my grid paper to try and keep things straight when I hover my head. But this is what happens, you see. I don't know whether you can see that. A bit of glue seeped out there. Now for this, it doesn't matter. I can just use my finger and push that away. But if I was using foil, that could get on it and spoil it. And actually, I've made this just a tiny bit too long, or else I didn't push it up to the edge there. Never mind. I'm just going to turn it over and snip away the excess from the back. That's all we need to do. And I'll go back to the seal, see if we can get this to work. No, it's... There we go. Something about the angle that I'm holding it. Some of it goes back inside. There. So now we're just going to pop this in here, get that centered up like that, flip it over, press from the back. There we go. That's our first card for tonight. Let me just move these bits out of the way. And now we're going to use those same papers to make a more feminine card. And this is the card that I'm making. I'm making it as a thank you, but obviously you can make it whatever you want it to be. Like I say, we're using the same papers, so that's what it is on the reverse, but we've got these pretty Calypso Coral and Petal Pink shades that we've got here. Now this is one of the labels that you can die cut with the waves dies, so we're going to use that as well. And I'm pulling in, for my thank you, the Plentiful Plants. This isn't one of those that's in the set this at the moment, and this is another one where I've taken it apart, but we're just going to build it back up to go on the block. So I just pop it together like that, get my block, press it down, pick it up. There we are. So we'll do that first, and I'm going to be using Calypso Coral, which is the sort of darker shade of the two. ring that in again because we're using photopolymer again. And I've recently re-inked this, so it should be fairly juicy. And this just fits on, so get that lined up, hopefully straight. There we are. I think it's straight. Move that out of the way, and we'll close the ink pad so that we don't get ink all over. And this is Petal Pink ribbon that we've got here, and there's two lengths. This short one is for wrapping around the card, so I'm just going to take out the insert. If you get a make and take pack, your insert is always inside the card, the bits that you want for that. So again, we're just going to stick these layers together. And come on, there we go. It's just rolling back in. There we go. I've just got one that I think seems to be just stretched so that it goes back in each time. Right, so doesn't matter right at the moment, but in a minute we're going to need to work out which way up we want things. So let me just, there we go, get that on straight, because the next bit is that we are going to want to thread our ribbon and wrap this around before we put these layers onto our card front. So we're going to just pop that through like that. This one is quite large. If you, sorry, what I mean is we've got quite a bit of quite a wide ribbon that fits nicely into this label. Okay. There we go. So what I've done is just put a little bit of adhesive on the back of here, and I'm just going to feed this through and make sure that it's straight before I press it down into place. So I'm just going to pull that so that it's even. If I pop it down like that, make sure that I've got a good amount of ribbon at both ends, and then just make sure that that's central. I can press that onto the adhesive that I've just put there. There we are. And then I'm going to pop some dimensionals, when I find them, on the back of here. You can just put this on flat, of course. So now, which way up do I want? I think I'm going to go with it that way up. And so I'm using my grid paper again, get that lined up and pop that on, hopefully straight. And I'm going to use tear and tape to secure the ribbon on the reverse. So you want a dry glue. A wet glue is just going to seep through the ribbon. So you could use the seal. I tend to prefer tear and tape for ribbon. It usually holds it pretty well. Or you could use Seal Plus. So there we've got that. And just make sure that's even. Now we can put this on our card front. And I'm going to give up with the seal in a bit. I'm just going to go back to my wet glue. So the wet glue's fine for card to card, just no good for ribbon. Like I say, it will just seep through. So there, we've got that in place. And now I'm going to make a bow with this ribbon. So I'm going to make what I call bunny ears, 2 little loops, probably a little bit closer in the centre. And then we cross one over the other and push it through the hole in the centre. And then we're just going to pull the ribbon until you've got loops the size that you're happy with. And if you just keep going backwards and forwards a little with it, you might want to flip it over and see whether one side looks better than the other. And we just keep pulling the ends through and then pulling the loops until you're happy with your bow. And I can work with that. And then I'm just going to cut these into some little tails. So what I've done is just fold the ribbon. You don't have to do this, but if you want to, you can just fold it and snip, and you've got a nice little V. So same thing again on the other side, fold it and snip, and again we've got a nice little V. And then I'm going to use a mini glue dot to adhere this to the centre of the card. So I've got a mini glue dot there, you can just see the shine. I press my bow onto it to pick up the glue dot, because otherwise it sticks to my fingers. And then I'm just going to stick that on there like that. Not quite as nice and neat as my original one, but that's always the way when you're doing it on camera. So I've now got this with a wider piece actually from the front, and I'm coming back to this and I'm going to use the So Very Much. So again, I'm going to just do the stamping first. Where's my book? Let me take that one off there. And that way, if I get things wrong with the stamping, I can flip my card over and use the other side. Now this So Very Much is actually just ever so slightly, it looks like it's if you remember the old typewriters, it looks like it's mistyped. It's not quite even, but it's meant to be like that. And you might see it better there, because you see the U is higher than the M. So you can see how blue it is on the other side. So it's I do love these papers, but like I say, they're limited time only, so if you like them too, don't miss out. Because like I say, they're supposed to be around until May, but it's while stocks last. And to be honest, you know, I would say get the papers now, and if you need to, get the stamp set later. You'll be able to get the stamp set later, but you won't be able to get the papers. So that's, oh, and I forgot about that, when I did this one, I actually used this stamp as well. So I'm not going to be able to do that now, but let me show you what I did do. So what I did was I actually got this stamp here, and I can't really do it now, but I stamped it, inked it and stamped it over in that corner, and then rotated it and stamped it over in that corner. Make sure that you re-ink in between to get a nice even image. So I've forgotten I did that. So that is our feminine card with the waves of inspiration. So there we go, and you can see that the different patterns, the design is a little bit different for each. So right, now we're going to move on to the Pansy Patch, and we're going back to the Pansy papers as well. And again, I've done this as die cut because these are supposed to be quick cards, but I just wanted to show you as well, if you've got the mini cut and emboss, there are so many different options with this. The Pansy Patch stamp set gives you lots of options for 2 different sizes of pansy, with the inners to be done and little bud as well, and a couple of different leaves. We've got some great sentiments in there. And then the dies will cut out, these will stamp to the same size as you've got in this paper. So the dies will cut out those pansies there, but you can also die cut out your own pansies and make them up from card or paper. And when you cut that out, it also embosses. Don't know whether you can pick that up, but it's got all the little veins in it, and so you can die cut out and put together your own pansy. So you could do this in white and then this in the Blackberry Bliss to create your own version of this. You've even got the little piece that goes there in the centre, and even the little dots for the centre, so it'll cut 3 at once. So you can create some extra little edgings for these pieces. So many different ways you can use this. It is an absolutely fabulous set. So I thought I'll just give a quick tip for die cutting out. Let me move these. I tend to use a bit of washi tape. Post-it notes work great as well. Whatever you happen to have. If you are using washi tape like me, then I do recommend that you put your washi tape right at the edge. The washi tape can tear your paper or card a little, so it's a good idea to put it at the edge so that you're not tearing the design that you're actually putting out. So let me bring in my big Stampin' Cut and Emboss again, but these of course will go through the mini. That's the whole idea of the offer. So stick that down. Oops. Actually, I don't think that's quite, there we go. And this goes very close, this die goes very close to the edge of these papers. I'll show you the papers in case you've not seen them on an earlier video or workshop. it is a stunning set, so I agree. And it's nice to have an excuse to bring it out again. So there we go. And the papers, these, I've not got the 6x6 set, but you've got all the leaves that you can die cut out. I've got a couple I've got here, and I'm going to show you with that. And then we've got, look at these, all these pansies, and you've got, I say, the dies that will cut out both sizes. And then if you do run out of the paper, you can stamp your own. So really great set. And this is part of that pansy paper, and I'm just using, let's move those to one side. You could use this either way round. I'm going with the gingham, and let me show you, this is the card that we're making. So I've cut some pieces here ready, and like I said, the stamp set has got some great sentiments. I'm actually going to use the thank you this time. I've used the birthday for this one, but I'm going to make a thank you card with it this time. And I'm going to pick out Blackberry Bliss. Let's peel that off and pop that on. And always a good idea to do your stamping early, and then it can be drying while we put the other bits together. And have to be careful with the Blackberry Bliss because it can smudge. It also, just be aware, it does stain your stamps. It definitely stains them, but it doesn't stop them functioning. There's nothing wrong with them, they're just discoloured. So I'm going to stamp this down here in the corner like that. And already, because I know Blackberry Bliss can be a bit of a problem child, I'm just going to turn it over and blot it. Part of it is that sometimes get little flecks on the surface of the ink pad, and they can smudge quite easily. So it's just something about the ink colour. So move that out of the way. So now we'll stick this to the card. So it's Blackberry Bliss card base, and let me check the Pansy Petals DSP. That's that one since I've had this out. I couldn't remember. And I'm not worried about getting the gingham entirely centred. It takes a bit of work to be able to get the pattern the same at both sides, so I'm not worried about it for this. And we're going to stick this to this. Again, being careful to make sure nothing smudges. And then I'm going to show you another way of doing ribbon. I might run over slightly tonight. Try and keep to time. But... Right, so I'm going to grab my tearing tape. And you've both got two, if you get the make and take kit, you'll get two bits of the fresh freesia. Make sure I'm at the bottom where the sentiment is. You'll get two pieces of fresh freesia ribbon. And this is just another way, and it's a great way of using up scraps actually. So I'm going to peel that off, and then I'm just going to fold that over and pop that on so that it's folded like that. If you need to, you can trim a little bit off this edge to make sure that it doesn't overhang your bit of card. And then get the other piece and do the same again. Now what I recommend is that you put one side on first and then fold it over. I'm using the grid paper to try and get those both about the same length. And there we are. And that just gives a different look again for the ribbon. And grab my dimensionals and we'll just stick a couple in the corners over the top of the ribbon. Again, it gives them a little bit of extra secure fastening. And we'll pop that on like that. Now this, I could have die cut these again, but I thought no, let's show you. I chopped the top of that off, or else it was at the edge of the paper. I can't remember what the actual issue was, but it doesn't matter because we're only going to see part of it. So I think I'm going to pop it that way, and I'll grab, I'm going to use mini dimensionals for this, doesn't really matter. And I'm putting them quite nice and central because we're going to do a bit of overlapping here. So I'm going to pop that down there like that. And then we're going to overlap this one. And you could even, no, it's supposed to be that way. So I'm going to pop that dimensional over there. Like that. And I'll come back to my regular ones. It's good to have a mix. And stick one of those in the centre, but I'm not coming down too far because that's going to overlap as well. So you need to make sure that the dimensionals are not going to get in the way of where you do want it to overlap. And I'm just going to turn it up a bit of an angle, but you can't see that that leaf was chopped away. So there we go. So thank you, and I'm going to do the little things make such a difference. So let me grab a block. That's a little bit big, but I think we'll get away with it. I'm aware that we're running a little bit late. Partly talking about my doggy. Partly talking about the offers because we've got such offers on this month. So, oops, let me get that straight again. So I like how this goes together with the thank you. Oops. And grab my glue. Again, if you wanted to, you could use the other side. It will still work because there's the fresh freesia in there. But I have a habit of liking fairly plain patterns to show off the stamping. Or in this case, the die cutting. But it could just as easily have been stamping because we could stamp the pansy in different colours. And I missed that that's gone over the edge, so there we go. Hopefully I've cut them well for the card packs. There we are, and just let's burnish a little bit more there. So we've got one that's a thank you and one that's a happy birthday in this case. So good to move on to our final card, as I'm keeping you running late. And this is using the All Squared Away, another bundle that we've got, and this has got little backgrounds that will work with the square die cuts, and you've got different little floral die cuts that will go over those backgrounds should you wish, kind of like that. And you get the little flowers to top these in a different colour if you want to. You don't have to, you could just leave it as it is. This is the card we're working towards. And I've cheated a little because I can't send you stamped images. I've actually got this little piece of paper from our recent celebration set. It's the Sunshine and Rainbows paper, and I just thought that it looks just like that pattern there, so I thought that's going to work well for this. So we've got little layers. It's Shaded Spruce, Pool Party and Whisper White, and then we've got Shaded Spruce, and I've die cut out the floral square and the little flower heads out of So Saffron. This background paper is again the pansies, so it's good to work for all sorts. So I've not put any paper on the insert, so we're just going to stick this down. What I will do is stamp the sentiment first of all, so that we can have that drying. So I'm going to use the happiest of birthdays to you again, and pick that up, and I've got Shaded Spruce ink that I'm going to use, and it's red rubber, so we don't need the matte this time. And just try and get this straight. Of course, if I don't get it right on the first go, I'll flip it over and do it again. And do you know what? I think I'm going to do it again because that doesn't look quite. We'll see which is the better one. If you do it again, you've always got the choice, as long as you've not smudged the other side, which I could have done. And I might have been better using a bigger block so that I could see the edges. That looks better. I'm happier with that. Right, so what we're going to do, we'll stick this down first. Let's get this stuck out of the way. And I've not really had time to show you, but the rhinestones, those waved rhinestones, would work on all of these cards to just add a little extra. If you're not using the blue, then you can use the green. With that feminine card that we did earlier, I would probably go for the green. So there we are, got that. And now this would be another good one actually to use the adhesive sheet on the back of. But you can carefully add liquid glue. Now you use it around the edges. Not quite so critical because it's not foiled, so you'll be able to wipe it away easier without it smearing the foil. There's my glue running away. So I'm going to pop that on. I'll just lift it up and just nudge that until, there we go. And then when it's in place, just press it down. My multi-purpose glue back and pop a bit on the outside of these. And I'm going to be using this for my pick of the week next week, so there'll be more ideas still next week for it. It is a little cutie. And you can see I have splodged a little bit of glue out. Right, that's the one that I want. So I'll put glue on this side. And pop it onto the pool square. And like I say, all of these have just been simply cut tonight because we've already got enough die cutting going on with the items themselves. So, and these are just squares laid together. There we are. So, dimensionals again. And we could stick one in the centre, but these four are close enough together that I'm not going to worry about that. And in actual fact, the sentiment one is just a smidgen bigger than this. That's because it's not a whole number of inches. That one's not a whole number of inches wide. So I think Sue's had to go. So thank you, Sue. Thanks for being here tonight. I'm almost done. So, and you could, of course, sort of offset these. My OCD doesn't work very well like that. So that's that. And then I'm just going to pick the "You Are So Worth Celebrating" to stamp on the insert. So let's grab a block, and I'm going with the shaded spruce, just so that I'm not introducing another ink colour for you, but of course you could be doing these in black, whatever you want to do. So, and there we go. That's lovely. That will do. And then pop this on the inside of here. And of course you could fancy this up a bit more. One of the things you can do, let me bring in the pack. Where's my pack? Here we go. One of the things that you could do if you want to is die cut out your flower. You could simply stick that on, or you can trim it out from the inside of the square. so that it's not framed anymore. You've just got the flower. So there's a lot that we can do with these, and like I say, I'm going to be using this next week as my pick of the week. So please stop by my blog for more ideas. But that's it for tonight. So we've got our birthday and thank you. Could do those in different ways as well. So I've done a few thank yous tonight because I quite often need to send thank yous to people. Like I said, if you want to place an order, then any order gets a thank you card from me, hence the thank yous. Won't necessarily get one of those. If you spend over £30, then you're going to get the Ideas Tutorial Bundle as well. If you spend over £45, then you're going to get this Make and Take kit. And if you spend over £60, you're going to get all of those: thank you card, Ideas Tutorial Bundle, Make and Take pack, and a pack of the Rhinestone Waves Basic Jewels. And like I say, these are really beautiful and can be used with all of these designs. So I hope you've enjoyed that, and thank you for being with me tonight. I really like having people at the other end. It's really nice to know that there's people watching and commenting. So thank you for staying with me, and us running over by about 10 minutes. So sorry about that, folks. But thank you. And I'll be back with the online workshop first Wednesday next month, same time, 7 p.m. But for now, thank you. Thanks for stopping by, and I'll see you again soon. Good night.